We do a lot of containing, really. So parents can go from loving you, giving you a cup of coffee, you know, bringing it in, here's a cake, wanting to hug you, to screaming at you, telling you they hate you and to get out every day. Well, within minutes, actually, sometimes the barometer can go like that really fast. So we do a lot of almost like being a thermostat, kind of trying to pace the temperature in the room and helping the parents think about what it is that's going on for them. And if they get to a point where actually it's too much, they're too aroused or they're too upset, then, you know, we have a plan in place to say, okay, what about going outside for 5 minutes? And then what we do is a lot of repairing. So these parents often experience a lot of breakdowns in relationships. And so the therapists have to be really resilient and really good at then going back in after you've been screamed at, parents have calmed down, helping them think about what happened, but also showing that didn't impact you in a way that you then don't want to speak to them again. So being a thermostat for the parents is really helping them to measure or help them think about what feelings they've had, what behaviours they've been going through, and be resilient to that with them. So we would go back in the room with them after they've had some time to calm down, talk it through with them, and that's really important for these parents because they're used to relationships where people actually then would have nothing more to do with them. So I was saying to my boss, it's a bit like being a weeble that wobbles but you don't fall down. You kind of have to roll with it a little bit, but be resilient enough to kind of keep coming back and saying, you know, that wasn't okay, but let's work this out. We spend about 7 hours on each programme day, so that's twice a week. That's about 14 hours with these parents, either in groups, individual sessions, or out on the floor doing multi-family activities. And I would say that that's very intense. Every other job I've had has involved being able to see a client and they go home. So you have a lot of space in between clients or, you know, whatever. But here, you're in it with the families, in the thick of it for the whole day. And that's another part of the resilience that you need. We even have to eat lunch with them. But actually that can be really good, and it can be part of when you can get to know these families in a much more human way. Part of what I've really learned here is the therapist part of you can actually the bit that can get in the way of making a connection with these families, and to see them as human beings that are incredibly anxious and incredibly defensive, and using humour and fun to kind of maybe get them out of that place that they're in helps them then develop that maturity in themselves and trust you.
Supervision is very important. This staff team is coping with a huge amount when it comes to working with families who are in dire straits, actually, where push has come to shove and there's a real question about whether they can keep their children or not. Families who've been very badly let down as children, the parents that we work with. And so the staff here have to deal with a huge amount of high intensity emotion and anxiety about risk. So as supervisors, our job is to hold the team together and help them to manage their own vulnerability, both as individuals and as a team. It's really important that they're able to be open and honest with each other and have safe relationships, really. So above all, it's a question of helping the staff feel safe in what can feel like a very unsafe situation. To do that, we have to help them talk about their feelings about their work, not just about cases and what's happening and whether to be worried about a child or not, but really about how they're managing the very difficult emotions that they're dealing with on a daily basis.